Wednesday, the 12th of January. Update on Twist of Fate. Ashok thinking to shoot at Abhi and thinks to shoot him when he is inside, else he might shout. Pandit Ji asks Ranbeer to make Riya wear the engagement ring. Riya smiles. Ranbeer imagines Prachi standing instead of Riya and smiles. He imagines Prachi smiling too. Subhanallah plays. Abhi looks at Ranbeer and Riya. He comes downstairs. Ashok keeps gun at Abhi's back and asks him to come to the room silently, else he will shoot him. Abhi says he is drunk. Ashok asks, "Are you mad?" He takes Abhi to his room. Abhi recalls Alia locking Aryan in the room. He also pushes Ashok in the bathroom and locks him, tells that he will win in the game. Ashok thinks he will be caught. Abhi comes to the room where Aryan is locked and opens the door. Pallavi asks Ranbeer to make Riya wear the ring. Riya asks her friend if Parth came. Ranbeer recalls Prachi telling that she loves Parth. The ring falls down from his hand. Abhi comes and takes it in his hand. Alia says bye as drunk, seeing guest looking at him. Ranbeer makes flower ring from bouquet and gives to Abhi. He says the ring in his hand is for Riya as they are getting engaged. Abhi goes. Tanu asks Mitali to see where is Gayatri and why she is not handling him. Abhi takes off a curtain and says Mowgli. He swings holding it. Everyone gets shocked and get up from their seat. Ashok calls Killer and tells that he couldn't kill him as he was drunk, and when he brought him to room, he locked me in room for the game. Killer says he might not lock you in bathroom if drunk. Surely he is acting, and says he is coming there to kill him. Ranbeer, Riya, and others get shocked seeing Abhi swinging holding the decoration curtain cloth. Alia asks Mitali, "Where is Gayatri?" Abhi kicks the decoration stuff and he manages to come down. Daddy asks what is this childishness and asks him to come to her. Alia asks Tanu and Mitali to clean the mess here and takes Abhi from there. Pragya comes there. Mitali tells her that Abhi had become like Mowgli. Alia pushes Abhi in the room and is about to beat him with the rod. Ranbeer holds it and throws it away. Alia asks, "How dare you?" Ranbeer says, "If you raise hand on Chief, then I will always stand in front of him." She asks him not to cross his limits. Ranbeer asks her not to cross her limits and says, "Who beats her brother like this?" Alia says, "It is none of your business." He says, "It is my damn business. I should intervene as coolies will always be business partner." Alia says, "This is my house." Ranbeer says, "I am going to be son-in-law of the house, and if I wouldn't have become, then also I would stand with Chief." Alia says bye as physically impaired. Ranbeer says, "If you talk to him nicely then he will be fine." Alia says, "I know how to handle him." Ranbeer says, "If you had known, then his condition will be not like this." He says this party is not important than Chief, and says, "This house, me and everyone is of Chief." He says if Chief can't enjoy then this party will be called off. He tells Abhi that he loves him very much and will not let anybody touch him. He says, "You can play with anyone, and if anyone touches him then I will not bear." Alia says, "This is my house." Ranbeer says this is my Chief and promises that if she raises his hand on Chief then he will take him somewhere and nobody will know. Riya comes there and asks what is happening. Ranbeer says, "Your bougie was beating Chief." Abhi cries and says Alia was beating me. Riya says he must be lying. Ranbeer says she is acting sweet in front of you. I have seen her truth. Alia warns Ranbeer not to do this again and goes. Ranbeer gets angry. Riya says she is my bougie. Ranbeer says he is your father. Riya says she was embarrassed due to him. Ranbeer holds her hand angrily. Alia comes out and sees Gayatri. She scolds her and says today I raised my hand due to you. She says he was hanging like Mowgli and would have got hurt if the cloth had torn. Pragya shouts and says you wouldn't have raised your hand on him. Abhi asks Ranbeer not to hurt Riya. Ranbeer says I will not hurt her, will just talk to her. He takes her to other room. Abhi sees balloons and gets happy. Riya asks him not to do this again. Ranbeer asks Riya how cheap is she. He didn't see daughter like girl and says, how can you see that you was embarrassed because of him? He tells the childhood moments and tells that chief never told that you were embarrassment for him, and when he became like a child, he became embarrassment for you. He says he never said that you was embarrassment for him and asks how can you say that? He asks what is wrong with you. If you can't love him then at least support him. He says he was telling truth that Alia was beating him, and I stopped him. Riya says it is awesome. Now dad is not getting beaten up. She asks him to listen and asks what he would have done if his dad is in this condition. She says you would have done the same thing. Ranbeer says I wouldn't have done like you as I am not like you. He says I would have treated with him nicely and would have communicate with him like Gayatri is doing. He says when you went missing, Chief cancelled all his meetings and searched you and cared for you. He says you knows well if you wouldn't have got that care then how you would have become. He says how much brain you need to understand that he is unwell. He says he didn't know that I love him, but understands that I will not harm him. He says, if you talk to him nicely then he will become fine. He asks her to just be a good daughter and goes. Alia asks Gayatri, how dare you? She says I brought by here, else he would have sent to mental asylum. Pragya says she will treat him and asks her not to raise hand on him. Alia gives her a month's time and says if you could treat him then I will double your sorry, and if not then nobody can save you. Pragya thinks she is Abhi's wife and will treat him. Ranbeer asking Riya if she saw Chief. Riya says I didn't see, I was here. Ranbeer says where did he go? Riya comes to him and says sorry for not behaving normally. She says she will be soon. She says you were concerned about dad and when he gets fine, then he will feel proud of you. Ranbeer says I am not doing this as he will feel proud or impress Riya. He asks her to be sensitive towards her papa. Riya says you have the quality to understand people, but not me. Ranbeer thinks you might not get it until you don't think from the heart. She says sorry. Ranbeer asks her not to say sorry and says even the chief will not understand her sorry now. Mitali comes there and asks them to get ready. Ranbeer goes. Prachi comes to Mera mansion to take Shahana back, thinking she shall not know Ma is working here as a servant. She thinks Shahana has a soft corner for Ranbeer and will tell him everything. She walks inside and collides with Ranbeer. He holds her. Manmurade plays. Prachi looks at him with tears in her eyes. Manmurade song plays. Ranbeer asks if she came to stop his engagement. Prachi says she didn't come for him. Ranbeer gets teary eyes and wipes his tears. Prachi goes to search Shahana. Ranbeer comes to her and says you had said that you didn't come to me. He asks why she doesn't understand that they have a connection between each other. Prachi says I have thought and tells that you are very stubborn and asks him to stop living in misunderstanding. Ranbeer asks her to tell in his eyes that she doesn't love him. He says if you are going to lie then don't tell. He asks her to tell him that she loves him. Prachi says I don't know and goes. He asks her to stop. Prachi shows her fingers and says there is no ring on her finger, as there is nothing between us. Abhi says I have the ring and shows the ring in his finger. Prachi hugs him and cries, calling him Papa. Abhi asks her not to touch him and tells that Ranbeer gave this ring to me. I didn't know that this is your engagement ring. He says this ring has flowers and it is worn by girls and I am boy. He asks Ranbeer to make Prachi wear the ring, as she is crying. He asks Prachi to give her hand. Subhanallah song plays. Abhi asks Ranbeer to make Prachi wear the flower ring. Prachi cries and hugs Abhi. Abhi sees the waiter and goes. Ranbeer asks Prachi to return the ring as she doesn't deserve it. Sarita Bayan asks Pragya to return home. Pragya says until he gets fine. I have to work here as a servant. She turns and sees a lady, asks her not to tell anything. The lady tells that she will not tell anyone and identifies Pragya. She says she came here with her husband Hemant for Ranbeer's engagement. Pragya tells that her husband is her world and that's why she is here. The lady says she understands well. Pragya asks, where is her husband? The lady tells that she talked about love, but confused about it, trying to find out if it is conditional or consensual. She says she got married as her parents wished and had children as her mother-in-law wanted. She says she feels like they are forced characters who worked for the society conditions. She asks if this is just our life, or if there is any happiness beyond this. Pragya asks what happiness. The lady says she wants to live life and do whatever she wants to, with her wish. The driver comes and says your husband is calling you. The lady asks her to watch her story in the story of a married woman. Pragya says surely. The lady goes. Shahana thinks where is Aryan and comes to his room. She keeps a note for him in the drawer and thinks if he forgot his own room. She thinks if he fooled her then she will not leave him. Aryan is locked in the bathroom and knocks on the door. He asks someone to open the door and thinks Shahana will think wrong and it will be difficult to control them. Abhi drinks and tries to do friendship with waiters. He burps. The waiter goes. Pragya takes Abhi's glass and drinks. Abhi asks if she drank his juice and says you shouldn't have done this. Pragya says sorry. Abhi says it is okay, you have done so much for me, taught me how to drink. He says waiters made me drink much. Pragya asks him to come to the room and says she will teach him how to make aeroplane. Abhi agrees. The waiter collides with Abhi. Abhi asks did you hit me? Pragya says no and helps the waiter pick the fallen stuff. Abhi throws the paper rocket in the air and it falls near Riya. Shahana asks if the children are here in the party. Riya sees Abhi and goes to him. She asks if he is playing alone. Abhi says sorry as the rocket fell near her. Riya says it's okay and gives paper rocket to him. Abhi tells her that he made two friends, one is Gayu and another one is Ranbeer. He says Ranbeer is very good and made him wear a ring, and also made other girl wear ring too. Riya gets tensed and asks where is that girl now? Abhi says they are behind the pillar. Riya thinks the other girl is surely Prachi. If she tries to snatch my Ranbeer from me then nobody will be worse than me.